How we doing? How we doing? Jazzle here. I just finished What Remains of Edith Finch and I actually like the game. This game is a narrative story driven game developed by Giant Sparrow and published by Annapurna Interactive. Development began in 2012. It took approximately 5 years to develop and the official release date was on April 25th, 2017. This game is available on most platforms including PC, Xbox Series S and X, PS5, PlayStation 4, and even the Nintendo Switch. My initial impression of the game was positive. As a fan of narrative story-driven games, I found the engaging story to be quite enjoyable throughout the whole entire playthrough. In this game, you play as Edith Finch, the last surviving member of the Finch family. Edith returns to her family home to uncover the stories of her relatives, all of whom died under a mysterious or extremely tragic way. The pacing of the story in this game was pretty good because there were no puzzles or obstacles to delay progressions. It allowed for a straightforward uncovering of all the mysteries, which was pretty good. Some storylines were interesting and had unexpected twists, adding interest during my first playthrough. The game is essentially a narrative story-driven walking simulator. You play as Edith, the last member of the Finch family. Your task is to explore the entire house built by the Finches and uncover secrets that Edith was never told. You'll explore the house by traversing secret passages, strolling on outside balcony, and venturing underground, among other places. This approach honestly makes the entire place seems very large. You have the option to play with either a mouse and keyboard or controller. I chose to use a controller as I generally prefer it over mouse and keyboard. I attempted to use the mouse and keyboard initially in this game, but I found the control to be somewhat weird and uncomfortable. For example, to interact with doors, you need to pull your mouse towards you, which felt unnatural. Also, certain actions like cranking require circular mouse movements, which I didn't enjoy. On the other hand, using controller provided a more comfortable gaming experience. The interaction felt more intuitive and straightforward. In my opinion, this gameplay is enjoyable for players who are looking for something relaxing and cozy experience. The game is very linear. Essentially, you're walking from one location to another and uncovering the family secrets. The engaging aspect of the game stems from each family member having a unique story revealed through what feels like a mini game. For instance, there are moments when you transform into various animals. Other times you find yourself inside a comic book controlling a character in there. And there's also a time when you're on a swing, a part of the game that is genuinely very sad. I appreciate how while exploring, text appears on the screen showing Edith's thoughts. This feature was interesting to me because it effectively lets the players know what is going on. It didn't really interfere with my gameplay and I found it that I prefer it more than reading a separate text box. The difficulty of this game is virtually non-existent. As I mentioned earlier, it's a walking simulator. You'll move from one location to the next. The game is primarily driven by its narrative. While it's quite linear, it's possible to miss some family member stories if you're not careful. So I guess the most difficult part of the game is making sure not to miss out on anything. Make sure to explore every nook and cranny of the house. I really like the graphics and style of this game. They're really polished. The first time I saw the house, it was filled with amazing details like the mess left on the sink and floors and the unwashed dishes. These elements contributes to the uniqueness of the setting, giving the impression that the house was inhabited by interesting people. In fact, the house itself becomes a character due to the stories it tells through explorations, its secret passages, and different rooms. The performance of this game was pretty impressive. I played it on PC at 1440p resolution with the preset set to Ultra and didn't experience any glitches or frame drops. I looked up the game's initial performance when it was first released and found that some console players experienced minor issues, but nothing that significantly impacted the overall gameplay. The sound design is impressive. Interestingly enough, I initially thought this was a horror game due to my lack of knowledge about the game. The first few minutes when you're just walking towards the house, it was eerily quiet. All you could hear were the sound of the wind, the surrounding forest, chirping birds, and the river's flow. Entering the house for the first time felt unsettling due to The Silence. That was just my first experience though. I didn't know much about the game. I found it on sale and thought it looked cool without checking what it was all about. Anyway, back to the topic of audio design. The narration was quite impressive and the music was awesome. However, some pieces of music carried a hint of sadness with it. Overall, the game has pretty good audio design. This game is relatively short, taking just under 2 hours to complete, at least that was my experience. It's definitely possible to finish it in one sitting, which I recommend for full immersion. The game is priced at $20. While it has beautiful graphics and an amazing story, the 2-hour runtime and limited gameplay make the price seem fair, at least to me. I managed to purchase it on a huge discount during a Steam sale, and I suggest buying it on sale. In terms of replayability, I played this game twice because I missed a few family member stories during my initial playthrough. The game's length was short enough that replaying it wasn't bad. It allowed me to form my own opinion about the game, and I found the story enjoyable, so it didn't bother me. As for the ending, I believe the game has only one ending as far as I can tell. In conclusion, I enjoyed the game's narrative, including individual stories of each family member. I found Edith's character to be quite relatable. The unique approach of presenting each family member's story as a minigame was also pretty cool. Additionally, the amazing graphics and the design of the house with all the stuff in it and the mess greatly enhanced my overall gaming experience. I believe the game's main weakness was the walking speed, which was pretty slow. This is my personal preference, but I wish there was an option to run or at least jog. Despite the game's short length and narrative focus, I wanted to move faster so I could explore every corner of the house quickly, as I found the game's setting very interesting. I wanted to look at all the photos on the wall, all the writings on the wall, the small details in every room I went to. I wish I could have done that much faster. Now, would I recommend this game? Absolutely. I found this game to be pretty good, although it's a very story-driven game and doesn't involve shooting monsters or hiding from zombies. The narrative is very interesting. The storytelling is really good, making it highly recommended for those players who appreciate a strong narrative in games. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day.